Okay, so I caught this little slug. Hopefully I don't squish him all over the place. Ugh, oh, I squished him. Starting with the clam, we are going to first identify the anatomical positions. We're going to first focus on the anterior portion, which is located right here. This is the anterior. While moving this direction, the wider area here, this is going to be posterior. So we have anterior. Remember, anterior meant front. Posterior here would be the back. Then we actually have here, if we see all these growth rings, they'll actually start up here. This is where the hinge is located, okay? The hinge. Just like with a door hinge, this allows for the opening and closing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna identify this hinge as the umbo, and then this hinge, this umbo, this nodule, okay, is going to be the dorsal area. And then up here is going to be the ventral area. So this is ventral, while this is dorsal. And the umbo is the oldest portion of the clam. I'm now going to go ahead and cut open the clam. I'm going to use my scalpel, and I'm going to actually start on this side, the anterior side. And the reason for that is because a stick has been placed inside to prevent complete closure of the clam shell. Now, when you boil a clam, it does relax the abductor muscles, and then the clam, when it dies, it opens. In this case, the clam is not relaxed. The abductor muscles are tightened, and so we have this stick, which is preventing total closure. So I'm going to start on the anterior portion. I'm going to go ahead and cut the abductor muscle, going dorsal on that side, and then I have another abductor muscle on this side I need to cut. And let's see if that worked. Yep. Okay, so it is opening, and let's see. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open it completely. Yummy, yummy. And I'm going to open it completely here. Now you can actually see some of the parts did break. Okay, so the mantle did rip as I opened this. Now we're going to take a look at the clam here in just a moment and identify these parts. We have two shells. Okay, we have two shells, and remember this is class bivalva, bi meaning two. So I have one shell here and then the second shell here. So these are two halves of my clam. Now right here are the muscles. This muscle connects to this muscle, which I cut through. And then here we have the other abductor muscle connecting to this abductor muscle. I cut them. So these are actually the remnant or the scars of the abductor muscle. Let's go ahead and do a little close-up. You can see there's one muscle there that was cut, and then the other here. Okay, so you can see here is this part connected to this part. The other abductor muscle here connected to this part back here. Okay, so I cut those abductor muscles. That's what opens and closes the clam. Here we have where the hinge would be located on the inside. You can see the tooth-like projections. And basically this structure is what opens and closes or allows a movement of opening and closing, okay, at the umbo. Now remember the clam is class bivalva, valve or shell. We have two of them. Now we're going to take a look at the mantle. Now the mantle is the thin tissue that lines the inside of the shell. This is the mantle. You can actually see it's very thin, easily broken, but it lines that inside of the shell. It's all right in here. I'm going to go ahead and start peeling some of that mantle off. So this is the mantle. Okay, this lines the inside of the shell. Now the mantle can also hold air or water, and this can also help with respiration. The mantle can also produce calcium carbonate, which is very similar, which makes up chalk. This chemical composition, which is calcium, carbon, and oxygen, this can actually be produced to actually form the shell of the mollusk, the shell of the clam. So the mantle is actually what's going to be forming more of the shell. Now remember, when we had the growth rings, how is the shell getting larger? Well, it's being created by the production of calcium carbonate from the mantle. Now we're going to go ahead and come right in here, and I'm going to remove this part here, and these are actually the gills. These are the gills. Now, these gills are little layers, and you can see that they actually have little lines on them. They have little lines going across. So these gills, very thin, take in oxygen for respiration. And of course, the mantle helps bring that in, as well as the siphons. The siphons will bring in water and pass it over the gills. So these are the gills. And we have the gills were actually right here, and you can see they were ripped. Okay? And so the gills are very close to where the muscular foot is. So I'm going to remove the gills. Okay, we have another gill here. And right inside here we have the palps and we have the mouth. And the mouth is located right in here, very tiny. And then basically we have the muscular foot. Now the muscular foot can stretch, and I'm going to show you a little video showing you the muscular foot and the uses of it, but it's very, very hard, okay, right now. Okay, the muscular foot is very similar to our tongue, can stretch out, and you can't really see it in this clam, but basically back here you would have two siphons, an in-current and ex-current siphon, bring water in and out. I'm going to go ahead and cut the muscular foot, and I don't know if you can notice, but here it's very hard, but as I move up here, it's very squishy. Can you see how it's very squishy right here? That is where the organs are going to be of the clam. So we have the hard muscular foot, doesn't really push in, but then here it's very squishy. That's where the reproductive organs are. That's where the digestive organs are in this area. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that now. Okay, I've created a left and right side of the foot, and then you can see all the little internal organs here. Okay, the yellow organs are the reproductive organs, the little yellow parts in here. Then as we move up further, we have some green structures here, and that is actually referring to the stomach. And then back here, in the very back, I have some red structures here, and that is the red area is the heart. Now in the back here, we're going to have where the anus is going to be. So at the end of the digestive system, right back here, the anus would be located for excretion. And here we have the squid. Remember, the squid is a cephalopod. It is in phylum Mollusca, but specifically in class Cephalopoda. Cephalopoda, remember, cephalo referring to head, pod referring to foot. So what we have right here, here is the head region, and you can actually see the large eyes right where my thumb is, and you have the tentacles, and basically pod meaning feet, so we have actually 8 tentacles, 2 rows. We have 2 rows of suction cups here on those 8 tentacles, and here we have the feeding tentacles with the suction cups on those tentacles. Right here you have the mantle. Here are the stabilizing fins, and basically we're going to have 2 stabilizing fins for swimming. And if I flip them over, right here, this structure here is the siphon, and this can expel water to help it to swim away fast. Okay, so if I open the tentacles up, inside we have the mouth region, and basically we have a beak. If you would feel that, okay, go ahead, put your finger right on that. If you would feel that, it actually feels very sharp. This is called the parrot-like beak. Okay, so let's go ahead, let's cut this open and see what the beak looks like. So cutting this open, you can actually see the beak. So cutting this open, you can actually see the beak here and how sharp it is. It's one piece of it. Now inside we have, inside you also have the ink sac as well as the gonads, the sperm and egg sacs. So I'm going to open up the mantle. Yummy, yummy. Now we're going to first place the sea star dorsal side up, or this is also known as arboreal side up. And we're going to actually locate the central disc. Now right here is going to be the disc area. Now in some sea stars you can really see it. There's a picture of the brittle star which actually shows the central disc, and it's very clear. Now the anus is going to be in the very center here. Some sea stars you can actually see it really, really clearly, really well, but the anus is going to be this little hole right up here at the top. Now I have a white colored hole here, or a white colored disc. This white colored disc is not the anus. This white colored disc, as you can see right here, okay, it's somewhat hard, but that is actually called the madreporite. Now this madreporite, this actually acts as a pressure equalizing valve, but it also brings in seawater or salt water. This salt water is then passed through the vascular system. Now remember, vascular refers to blood vessels. Now, as the blood vessels take in this seawater, it's then going to be transported to the tubed feet, and we'll take a look at the tubed feet in just a second. That's very important, and it actually creates the movement of the tube feet. So without this little disc, we can't bring water in, and then that we actually can't move the 2 feet, which means the sea star cannot move. You can actually see all the spines. Remember, this is an echinoderm. I'm going to bring this closer. And you can actually see all the little spines. Remember, echinoderm means spiny skin. So you can see all these little bumps. And if you listen carefully, you can hear the rubber glove going against the spines. Ah! Oh, sorry. And then, okay, you can actually hear them here as they're breaking. Okay. Now, we're going to then go ahead and take your sea star and turn it ventral side up. And this is actually called oral side up because the mouth is located right in the middle. So this is where the mouth is. Now, why is the mouth here on the belly region? Well, if you have a clam, a little tiny clam or food down here, the sea star is going to go over it, put it in its mouth, stomach, and then spit it out and poop on its back. Okay, so this is ventral side up or oral. Oral means mouth, oral side up. Now you can see a lot of the spines here, but you can also see these little grooves or these little ridges. Inside these little ridges are where the tube feet are. So let's take a closer look. And if you actually have a chance to feel a sea star, you can actually see all these little tubed feet and feel them, and they're very, very soft. Very soft compared to the hard exoskeleton of the rest of the body. So these little 2 feet have little suction cup parts to it, and that actually aids in movement. Now the arms can move, but what actually does the actual movement to get them from point A to point B are the movements of the 2 feet going up and down and sticking to other things. So what we're going to now do, we're going to end with the external observation, dissection of the sea star, but we're going to go ahead and look at the internal. I'm going to cut part of the sea star off, and you can actually see, okay, that inside there's some different little spaces here. We have some digestive glands, which is very, very squishy here. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and cut this open so you can see the digestive glands, but then you can also see a radial canal that's actually going to pass down where the 2 feet are. Hooked to the radial canal are the tubed feet. Okay, so we did learn that there is a ring canal, and then branching from that ring canal are radial canals. And this is where the 2 feet are going to be connected. Now, these squishy digestive glands are actually going to link to the stomach, helping for digestion of the stomach. So it gets stored here in the arms and then released, enzymes released into the stomach. So let's go ahead and cut. Now, as I'm cutting, fishermen actually tried to kill sea stars, which used to be called starfish, but they're not actually fish. And they would actually cut them up into pieces. And of course, you know, they'd wonder why we have so many sea stars more than before. Well, that's because the sea stars will asexually regenerate. Now you can see these things being brought up here. These are the digestive glands, very soft. Okay, so these digestive glands are coming out very easily. So these are the digestive glands, very mushy, very squishy. Okay, I'm going to set them down here and then open it up, and you can see the radial canal. Now the radial canal is also called the lateral canal. You can see that the radial canal is actually going to be what's going to connect and make the little tubed feet. If I open this up, you can see the little 2 feet here, and you can actually see, yes, here we have the little tubed feet. And let's go ahead and, okay, and yes, you can see the little 2 feet. These are all these little things that are going to be moving and suction cupped, and all created by the movement of salt water from the vascular system. So you can see these little 2 feet. They're very soft, little suction cup edges. Now I'm going to come back here. Now I did skip a part right here as we said the mouth. Now as we come here, you can actually see the oral spines. I'm going to go ahead and open this up a little bit But right here, this is where we're going to have these little mouth spines, these little oral spines right in here. Okay, so hopefully this won't give you nightmares tonight. But this is going to open up, and right inside we have the mouth. Now, you can actually see the disc, and remember, from the disc, you're going to have these rays or arms coming off. I'm going to go ahead and separate these little arms. I'm going to separate these little arms here. And then we have that central plate. You can actually see that, okay, right in here. Okay, that central plate. Okay, and here's the mouth. Right in the center. And one last thing I did forget, right on the end we have a photoreceptor. On the end of each of these rays, a sea star is going to have an eye spot. So on the end of each of these, we have an eye spot. You can see one here. And remember, these are not eyeballs, but these are eye spots, photoreceptors. Just like the planaria will have photoreceptors, you're going to have it in the sea star. So you have these little eye spots, little photoreceptors. And that helps in the movement and direction of the sea star and where it wants to go. Okay, say bye-bye, wave bye-bye, wave bye-bye.